I am so excited today to show you all the changes we have going on in the garden. We are doing some major redos. So I'm going to tell you that in this video, I'll be telling you about those changes, and I'm going to be telling you about some raised beds we're putting in, which ones we got and why, and how to fill up those tall raised beds cheaply, or like we did for zero cost. Also, I'm going to be showing you all the plans we have for finishing the bed that I'm going to show you today, and the plans we have for redoing the other garden beds, and show you how we leveled the garden plot that we did. The first bed that we did, we had about 1.5 feet grade, so we had to level that. So we're going to show you how we did that, and be sure to stick around for the end of the video, because we'll be giving you a really easy formula you can use to make your beds perfectly square. So that's what we're going to be covering, and I will be putting these in timestamps in the description of the video. We would love it if you'd take a minute right now to like and subscribe. Okay, stay tuned. I'll be right back. So these are the garden beds that I picked out. They are the Vego garden beds, and they are made with a combination of metals so that they don't decay very rapidly. And from what I can tell on doing some research, a lot of the galvanized steel would decay after a while. They'd rust, and then you would be getting holes in it and leaching some things into the soil. This looked like it had a really good combination of metals, and then plus the painted coating they had on the outsides. They also had some really nice color choices, and I went with this kind of darker green because, I don't know, kind of like the idea that it was kind of plant-like, and they were very easy to put together, and we were able to fill them very inexpensively. And I'm going to talk about that next. I have the links for these garden beds and anything else I talk about in this video in the description below. So filling these garden beds, even the taller ones that you see here, actually cost us no money at all. We used somewhat of a hugelkultur process, which is a process that kind of simulates the forest floor and how all the logs and leaves and other debris hit the forest and everything decomposes naturally. So what we did first was we put some logs in the bottom Those will take longer to decompose than some of the other materials. We then put wood chips layered with fresh green materials, and then Mike put in some of our homemade compost that had some lovely composting worms and other things in it that, when layered with the wood chips and the greens, is going to help that part to break down a little bit better, even though it's down in there. And then we took the soil that we dug out from the grading process and put that on the top. I've just now put a few of the plants from this bed in there for now to try to save some of them, but I think that because I'm going to be clearing out one of the other beds, I'm going to take some of those and put them in there, and that will be for the next video. Okay, so you can see that I put a couple different sizes of beds here. I wanted to try out some of each. This was the size that I went to first because it's more of a common size, but this is one of their newer sizes, and it just seemed really nice to be able to step over and work right there in the bed at waist level. I was a little worried that it was going to be too long a reach, but it's not at all. It's a really nice sized bed, and the round shape of it I thought was just kind of neat looking. They do have the longer ones, but I like the round shapes, and it's round is also quite a sturdy shape. So yeah, I liked these so well that I think I'm going to be putting some in some of the other beds. Okay, so for leveling the ground, what we did was we took some stakes to get our approximate outside four corners, and then we took measurements and squared that up. I'll be showing you how it was squared up in just a minute, but just to get started leveling this, we started at the low end and started running the side strings and then center strings in different spots, just to get kind of a feel where level was going to be. And then at the end, we took those strings out, took some wood, took the level, and then finished the leveling off. Okay, so as far as finishing this bed off, I am going to be putting some kind of barrier on that edge because there is a drop off between those two tall beds. There's a very steep drop off, so I'm going to be putting some of the large pots and planters, maybe a couple in a row over there, so that I have more planting space and people don't fall into the hole. Right now you can see I have that trellis there so that no one accidentally steps down. And then I'm going to be planting some of my larger plants down in the bottom here. Probably more of the perennials will go down here. And then also planning to do some summer annual flowers down in here and around the edges. And then in the back, in the middle here, I want to do maybe like a whole section of different shaped, interesting pots. Maybe a big trellis. Because I have plenty of room left over there. And not sure I want to do another big planter in the center. I like that open feeling, but I want to put something there so that I'm using up some of the space. So yeah, that is that plot, and then I'll be taking actually the raised beds that are in the farthest plot and putting it where my peppers will go in plot number 3, I guess. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4, then those are the garden beds. And the herb plot that is over that way, I'll be redoing that, putting some different containers, probably taking some of the perennial herbs maybe and putting them down in here. Okay, so what is the method we use to actually square up the plots? Well, for one thing, we know that in the corner of these two beds, we have faucets that were pretty much on the corners, and we know that these beds were supposed to be 10 by 10. Now when we got them, they were a little bit differently shaped than that, so we wanted to square them up, level this one off. I don't think we're going to be leveling all of them, but just this one, because it had these bigger beds. Although we almost did these staggered on different levels like I did plot number 4. But yeah, in fact we had one in, we were going to do that. But then we were looking at it like, what if we just took one and we leveled the whole thing out? And I'm really glad we did. So to get this square, we used a 3-4-5 triangle, also called the 3-4-5 method. You can also use the Pythagorean theorem. It's the same sort of thing, but it's easier for carpenters to just remember 3-4-5. So you take one spot, which was our farthest corner. You measure out a string, put it in with a marker, and then measure 3 down that way, measure another, put another string with a marker, you measure 4 down that way, and then when you have your marker 3 and 4, put another string across, and if that equals 5, you are on the square with those two. So you just go around your garden bed and you can get a perfect square with a 3-4-5 triangle. I'll put that in the description, and anything else I mentioned in the description and on our website so that you can reference those. And of course we do have timestamps in the description of the video, so if you want to roll back and look for any of this information, it'll be in the timestamp. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you'll give us a like on this video and you will subscribe to our channel.